You pass.
All right, everyone. So there's been a lot of talk about this new stimulus package and what it entails. Now, I went over my stimulus update yesterday. So if you guys want any of the very details about the monies and all the benefit packages, unemployment at $300, individual payments, and also married couples. You have individual payments at $600. You have married couples at $600. At $1,200 for the entire couple, and then each each dependent gets up to $600 as well. So $100 increase up from the $500. But what's important for this particular update is that Trump is trying to increase the stimulus package for individual payments, individual payments by $1,400. So that will bring you up to $2,000 per person, $4,000 per couple, and still keeping with the $600 dependent. Now, what's important with this too is I've done some research, and I know a lot of you want to get right to the money. You want to know when you're getting paid. They're not paying people until early next week, supposedly, some of the first stimulus payments. So that's why they're trying to handle this before Christmas, because tomorrow is essentially Christmas Eve and Friday is Christmas Day. But nonetheless, I've been doing a lot of research, and I have some information to share with you guys that is very, very intriguing. Why would Trump come out and say that the stimulus package, that the stimulus individual monetary payments need to be increased to $2,000? Why would Trump come out and say that? So again, I've done some research myself, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what I came up with. It says right here, a second round of stimulus checks have been expected to land in the bank accounts of millions of Americans as soon as next week, thanks to the $900 billion economic relief package that Congress passed Monday night. But President Donald Trump's sudden instance Tuesday boosted the bill's stimulus checks to $2,000 per person, is now throwing the trimming, the timing, and the amount of the checks into question. This is important. It says the upheave comes after Congress added 600 per person checks into the bill during last minute negotiation, an amount that has been decried as too low by some lawmakers, such as Senators Bernie Sanders of Vermont, an independent, and Josh Hawley of Missouri, a Republican. Mr. Trump seemed to agree with the critics, saying in a video posted on Twitter on December 22nd that he would not sign, listen to this, he will not sign the economic relief package, calling the stimulus check ridiculously low. Who agrees with that? Now, I know a lot of you don't like to agree with Donald Trump, but I do agree that $600 is ridiculously low, where we went from March. Now, we go back. If we go back, where is it? It's right here. If we go back to the CARES Act, let me blow this up for you guys. Let me get out this picture. If we go back to the CARES Act, when was this passed? When was this passed, ladies and gentlemen? Right here. It became law right here, March 27 of 2020. So we haven't had a stimulus benefits package. The only thing we had was an extension of the eviction moratorium, okay? And we had extension of the unemployment benefit. But the CARES Act was passed March 27, 2020. Here we go. I'm right here on, congress.gov. And we're talking about the CARES Act in reference to this particular act, okay? That the president has not signed yet. So when we go back here, he said that the payment is ridiculously low. Ridiculously low. And he doesn't think he's going to sign it unless they increase the individual payments to $2,000. Now, I don't agree with Trump with many things, but I do agree with Trump with this one. If you're going to give the American people some money, give them some money they can actually do something with. What are you going to do with $600 other than pay your car note? What are you going to do with $600 other than get some groceries? You're not going to be able to pay your mortgage or rent with $2,000 for a lot of Americans, okay? I think the national rent average is like $1,000. And what you're going to do, I mean, it's not enough money. We know this. So at least $1,200, okay? At least go back to what you was doing prior to. Let me move on. Because this is what Trump is proposing, the $2,000, okay? It said the $600 checks directly, okay, bill would represent half of the $1,200 directed towards most adults in the first round of stimulus checks. Critics have said the aid would be helpful, but not enough to tide over families who have suffered income or jobless since the coronavirus pandemic. And this is another thing to actually note, ladies and gentlemen, is that if we only get $1,200, matter of fact, if we only get $600, we still have to wait till Joe Biden comes into office. I think he will assume the presidency June 20th, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But then he has to settle his affairs, and we have to figure out what he's going to do in the first 100 days of his presidency. So are we going to get a third stimulus? So essentially, this stimulus has to be larger or at least the same amount as the first stimulus that we received in March. But they're cutting this down in half. And your question is, why? Don't you know, like, you love when somebody always gives you the why? You're like, yeah, man, get to the point where they give us the money. Dude, listen, would you hold out an extra week to get an extra $1,400? I know I would. Would you hold out an extra week to get an additional $600? I know I would. So this information, in my opinion, is very important to know the why. So I was searching and squiring the internet, and I was looking at different people's posts about the $600 individual payments, because that's what really people care about. Now, I know a lot of people on unemployment, you're still getting that $300 to $400 per week of that extra bonus. So you're good there. But there's a lot of people who are still working, but they're behind on their bills. They don't have enough money to cover some of their essential utilities, okay? And a lot of them are still paying out of their emergency fund, their 401ks. So they need some relief money, the word relief, okay? Relief, in order to pay some of their back bills or, quite frankly, support their families. But here's the thing. I was reading this. Now, I didn't know how this made any sense. Tariq Nasheed says the COVID relief bill is trash and there should be a veto. Let me show you this. I want to make sure you guys see this as well. Let me blow this up. All right, I think you can see it. He says that the COVID relief bill is trash and there should be a veto against it according to all the politicians. And there should be a veto against according to all the politicians. COVID has impacted foundational Black Americans the most, so part that the package should allocate monetary resources to FBA. Now, of course, Tariq Nasheed, as we all know, is B1 pro-Black, as well a lot of us are. But for my non-FBA members, what he's basically saying is this bill that they currently signed is full of crap. So what I did was I did all this research. I'm researching, I'm looking at all these different government websites, and I'm coming up like, okay, what is the name of this bill? Is it the COVID-19 second relief package bill or whatever, right? So I come upon this bill right here. I'm like, yo, what is this? HR 133, United States-Mexico Economic Partnership Act, okay? And then it says it passed the House, passed the Senate, resolving differences. I said, okay, because I'm looking at it right here. When it came into action, now we know Monday night was the 21st. I said, okay, man, so this is a day off. Because they said it got passed Monday night. They said it got passed Monday. So this is not it. And I'm looking at foreign relations. And then Tariq Nasheed said what? Before gender programs in Pakistan. So I was very confused, right? Because we're talking about, again, payments to the American people for COVID-19 relief. People who were laid off, people who were furloughed, family members who have to cover other family members' death, food on the table, utilities, healthcare workers, fire department, everybody, right? Everybody needs some money in some form or fashion for something. So I said, you know what? Not only do you need to know when the money is coming to your bank account, the measly $600 supposedly starting next week. But why did Donald Trump say that it should be $2,000? Why did Donald Trump say, okay, let me go back up here. I'm asking Congress, this is Donald Trump, I'm asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 and $4,000 for a couple. President Donald Trump says. Now, a lot of you may not be Trump supporters, you may not be Biden supporters, but I know you're money supporters, and you support more money. Because over the course of your lifetime, you pay way more than $2,000 to $4,000 of taxes. So the only thing they're giving you is your tax bill back. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a price to pay when the government pays you back money. It's called inflation. Look out for inflation to rise anywhere from 2 to 3%. I mean, 0.3 to 0.8%. I digress in that area. But here we go. The question is, why did they cut the stimulus payment this time in half from the first previous statement of the CARES Act back in March? Why would they do such a thing? Why would they do such thing? Back in the CARES Act, okay, March 27, 10 a.m., why are they reducing this? That's your question, right? And I'm not going to prolong it anymore. I'm just going to show you something. So I showed you that bill, showed you that bill. Let me show you this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you this. Let me show you. This is coming from congress.gov. This is coming from congress.gov. Now, I wanted to look at all the bills that was being passed on that day. Now, you and I would think that this is the only thing going on right now is COVID-19 relief package for unemployed, furloughed Americans, unemployment benefits, healthcare workers, individual monetary payments for $600 because that's the only thing the government can afford. No. So this one is resolving differences, okay? So it's not to the president. So all of these are introduced, but they're introducing all of these on the 21st. The government must go on. But let's look into the ones that passed the House and passed the Senate, and the next is to the president to sign and become law. So we understand that this new relief package was sent to the president, and he's talking about not signing it unless they amend it and increase the payment to $2,000. Now, the negotiating tactic here is at least get it to $1,200, hopefully. But look at this. Young Fishermen's Development Act. What in the hell is this? Ladies and gentlemen, each bill that you see, this is HR 1240, each bill that you see is causing the American government money, meaning your tax dollars. That's what it's causing. I just want to make people aware, okay? I want to make people aware of these ridiculous acts, the reason why you're only getting $600, because you're asking yourself, oh, wait a minute, in March, we just found about the coronavirus in February. But in March, you sign a bill quickly. The CARES Act, ladies and gentlemen, was $2.2 trillion. Now, out of that $2.2 trillion, didn't you hear somebody say, didn't you read some on the internet that it was still $900 billion floating around? Didn't you hear that? Am I the only one to hear that? Out of the $2.2 trillion, didn't you hear there was $900 billion floating around? First and foremost, I personally know people who did not get the first stimulus check. You may know them too. Where did that money go? What about the big corporations that was filing for COVID-19 relief during the first stimulus that had to give the money back because they wasn't even hurting? But go and read how there was $900 billion floating around. Now this bill is $908 billion. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, ladies and gentlemen. I bullcrap you not. I'm just giving you the facts as I know it. Let's move on. But we're not going to go through every bill, but I'm going to show you something here. Why in the hell are we, putting all these bills into law that cost the government money while the American people are getting half of their payment from the first CARES Act? Here we go. Further extension of Continuing Appropriation Act. What does that mean? What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? Right here. This is very important, though. And a lot of you guys may not know about this one. It says here, This bill provides continuing 2020 fiscal year 2020 appropriations to federal agencies through December 28, 2020. It is known as continuing resolution and prevents a government shutdown that would otherwise occur in the fiscal year 2021 appropriation bills that have not been enacted when the existing CR expires on December 21st. So they had to sign this when the government would have shut down. We would have more problems. Now, I'm going to speed through the rest of these because I want to make you guys aware the same time that these politicians introduced a COVID relief bill, whatever the name is, because I can't find it, because I think it's part of that extension of the CARES Act of that 2.2 trillion, of that 900 billion that was just floating in financial space. But let's get into this. Okay, here we go. All right, the first extension appropriation became law. Listen to this one. This became law too. Okay, and look at these dates signed by the president on 12/21 to designate the facility of the United States Postal Service located. Oh my gosh, this is the problem with the government. Instead of worrying about the people, we're worrying about renaming the damn Postal Service office. Here we go again, renaming a postal service in South Dakota. This is what we're doing. Listen to this. To designate the facility of the United States Postal Service located at 1401 First Street North in Windhaven, Florida, as the Alpha Margaret Daily Mills Post Office building. We're so busy trying to pass COVID-19, we got time to rename buildings on the same day. You would think that'd be your first and only priority is to increase the monetary individual payments of Americans from $600 to $1,200 to $1,200 to $2,000. But no, we rename a damn post office. Let me go on. Here, another post office. Now, here's another one. Passed the Senate, Julius Rosenwald and the Rosenwald Schools Act of 2020. That's money. I'm giving you these facts, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you why you're only receiving $600. Should you be pissed? Yes, 1,000%. To designate the facility of the postal office, rename the post office, rename the post office, rename the post office, rename the post office, okay? Here we go. Pass the Senate, Great Lakes Restoration Initiative Act. Wait a minute. Now, let's go into this one. This is interesting, right? All these bills cost money in some form or fashion. This bill reauthorized through 2026 the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. Money. Why it was going to expire, so we need to get this in today. Why on the same night we're trying to do COVID-19? That's the question I had. Okay. Whoo, let me digress. Let me calm down. I'm a little deterred. I mean, this nothing new, but you would think, people have been homeless. Here we go. All right. What else was passed into law? Postal Service. What else? Postal Service. Here we go. Descent Act of 2020. Passed the Senate to the president. Rocky Mountain National Park Boundary Modification Act. Okay. Jimmy Carter National Historical Park Redesignation Act. Okay. Farm National Historical Park Redesignation Act. Ladies and gentlemen, you get what I'm getting at, right? Peace Corps Commemorative Work Extension Act. To deem an urban Indian organization employees thereof the part of the public health service for the purpose of certain claims for personal injury. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what our government is doing right now. This is what our government is doing right now. All of these bills that were passed that same Monday night, some passed the House and the Senate and waiting for the president approval. Others became into law. This is why we're wasting our time. See, if you go back and you do your research of the CARES Act of the 2.2 trillion that was given, I read about 3 months ago there was still $900 billion floating that was unclaimed, quote unquote, in financial space. Now we come up with a stimulus bill that's $908 billion, but you can only muster up $600 to give to the American people. Now the president himself is calling for us to get $2,000. He must know something we don't know. He said, I'm asking Congress to amend this bill and increase it to $2,000 for individual and $4,000 for couples, because this is what he says. I'm not saying it. he says, seemed to agree with the critics on December 22nd that he would not sign, listen to this, he will not sign the economic relief package, calling the stimulus checks ridiculously low. Let me just highlight that for some people. He would not sign the economic relief package, calling the stimulus checks ridiculously low. I know and you know we both agree with that. I know and you know we both agree with that. Good afternoon, Ashley Hawkins. Good afternoon, Rudy One. We got Insanity said, yeah, this is great. Trump said something that damn near everyone can agree with. The bill is nonsense. So much money for other things when that money could be going to the people. Here we go. It says, hate how some of these stupid bills work, always trying to sneak in some nonsense. Of course they do. Over 5,000 pages long, and people didn't bother to look through it before signing. They don't. Some of these bills are 5,000 pages long. And just to kind of give you guys some reference, okay, let me show you this. Look at this. Now, we're not going to go through this, ladies and gentlemen, but I do want you to see something. Down here is a number. You probably can't see that. So let me search through this very quickly. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. This bill right here is Bill HR 133. It's 5,593 pages. So a lot of these politicians, ladies and gentlemen, they just sign the damn thing. They just sign it. Like, I'm not reading 5,593 pages. I'm not doing it. So what happens? The people who write these bills sneak stuff in. That's why a lot of people on the internet are saying this is bull crap. Okay. So let me go over something very quickly. I'm going to get out of here. So I'm going through comments about this bill being trash. People like Pakistan getting gender relief funds. It says, you ain't lying. Immigrants are receiving $1,800. Listen to this. I know you guys. Whoo, I'm not trying to start that, guys. I promise. I'm just giving you the information as I know it. You ain't lying. Immigrants are receiving $1,800 while Americans are only getting $600. Democrats yet again proving their loyalty lies with non-Americans who has contempt for melanated folk. The foreign aid is in the omnibus bill. See, I love when people try to correct other people because then somebody comes with the information. The COVID relief package is part of the omnibus spending bill. There is no separate COVID relief bill. Boom. The COVID relief package is part of the omnibus spending bill. So it's either one or two things. The floating, listen to this, it's from the floating $900 billion from the CARES Act, from the $2.2 trillion, or it's from the general budget of the omnibus bill. Okay, let's move on. Let's see. Okay, here's some guy. He says there's two funds. The government one, what government does, and the separated COVID bill. So Pakistan funding is in the bill to fund the government. No, we run into the problem to furlough 1,000 Americans if spending bill does not pass. Reality check, okay? What else we got here? These politicians have sold Americans out. Stop letting them smile in your face and tell you lies. Illegals were going to get $800 while taxpaying citizens got $600. Make that make sense. Just to clarify, that $1,800 come from not receiving the first $1,200, but only if they live in a mixed status household. I'm in agreement with you, though. So people are correcting people. We're getting the information, though. And it goes on and on and on. Listen to this. Israel getting $500 million. Israel is already one of the richest countries in the world, but they always somehow manage to steal more money from us. They don't steal, brother. R.I.P. Nipsey, they don't steal. Okay? Trump is sending it back and demanding 2,000 stim checks and to cancel the wasteful spending in the bill. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your stimulus breakdown and update. And while I agree with Trump on this one, there's so much in this bill, I couldn't possibly read it all to you. I couldn't possibly read it myself. It's so much fluff and bull crap inside of this bill. And you should be emailing, writing your congressman and tell them, did you vote on this bill? Did you accept this nonsense? Because I know some of you are like, hey, listen, $600 is better than nothing. When you start acting like that, they got you by the balls. Virtually or figuratively. They got you by the balls when you start thinking like that. Because if other groups are getting aid support, like Pakistan in support of their gender relocation, I don't know, Israel $500 million, immigrants $1,800, but the American people, the taxpayers, $600. The ones with mortgages, the ones with rent, and here's the thing: there are landlords waiting. There are banks waiting for the eviction moratorium to expire so they can kick you out of your house, so they can kick you out of your apartment, so they can either rent it or sell it to somebody else. But this occurs in our government where everybody has their hand in the cookie jar. And the only thing you should be asking yourself is why. See, it's amazing to me that, in this generation we're living in the 21st century, that no one asks the question why. They're like, hey man, I want the stimulus update and $600 when I'm getting it. Why are you only receiving $600? Because I asked the question, why do we only receive $1,200? Now, you're like, well, $1,200 don't sound so bad when you're only receiving $600, but you got to know the why so you don't drive yourself crazy. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have any power. We don't have any power because we live in a republic. I love when I hear people say democracy, and I tell them, go define the Constitution and see if there's a democracy. We live in a republic. So basically, once we vote our elected officials in, once those elected officials that we voted in, they have all the power. Because if you notice in our government, once we elect them, certain parts of different cabinets, they appoint. You don't vote, they appoint. The powers that be appoint. You don't elect. Have you ever voted for a Supreme Court justice? Nope. They are appointed. And the only time that they lose their job is when what? They die or they step down. I've never heard of Supreme Court justice getting fired. It's possible, but I never heard of it. You have to understand the country that we live in, and everybody has their hand in the cookie jar. And the only thing that we can do, ladies and gentlemen, is argue about it, fuss about it, and write our congressman. That's the best thing we can do. $600 is not enough money for you. I agree with Trump. $2,000, we definitely need that money. Okay. Now, granted, is everyone going to do something productive with that money? Absolutely not. They're not going to do something with that money. But there's going to be a majority of Americans who actually need that money to suffice, to survive, and to support their families. All right, let me read your notes and get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We have Wendell in the room today. He says the Democrats just as much of the problem as the GOP. They're always trying to pass themselves off for the people as they continue doing stuff shady. Okay, we have SVI. When will people say enough is enough? We'll be homeless, but when people revolt. Okay. Willie Mae says, greetings, I hope you're well. Did you say 1,800 for immigrants? Yes, I did. And we have Insanity. He's saying this is the Wendell. Both sides do some dumb crap. I think we need to get rid of this two-party stuff. People can't just make up their own minds on stuff instead of taking sides. Let's see here. It will be a felony to stream soon, too. It probably will because the information is getting out. I thought the president said he was going to get rid of this one. Yeah. He's talking about not voting on it. President Trump is talking about not voting on it at all. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about, he said, unless you amend it and increase it to 2,000, I'm not going to even vote on it. This is from SVI. If people didn't get a wake-up call from the corrupt government, then it's already too late. And thank you, Ashley Harkins. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it for your stimulus update, your stimulus breakdown, your stimulus It is what it is, man. The only thing we can do is write out Congress. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The next time that you guys vote, think about times like this when you really needed your government to help you out. And those officials that you voted in and elected, that the only thing they can think about is $500 million to Israel, money to Pakistan, money to immigrants, but not the American people. You guys have a great, wonderful day. I'm out.